सारे टैक्सी ड्राइवरों से आज स्पेशल वीडियो है वैली रोड अस खलोते हुए हैं तकरीबन टाइम हो गया 10 to 1 इंशाल्लाह मीडिया सिस्टम सारा आ रहा अज इंशाल्लाह इंटरव्यू देसा लिहाजा माशाल्लाह अच्छे होए 80% ड्राइवर कमे नहीं आए बड़ी खुशी है असने भरावां ने तावन किसान ने हैकनी प्राइवेट ऐप लख वाई पूरा यॉर्कशायर आज बड़ा अच्छा दिहाड़ा है इंशाल्लाह बड़ी तावन ने जेरे पाई कम करने उन्होंने अपनी मर्जी पाई अस उन्हें क्यों गिला शिफा ना रहे मगर आज माशाल्लाह अच्छी आउटिंग टर्निंग हुई है उन्होंने जो मीडिया ले आई वेट करी दियां जिन्हें भराव जे हाजरी देनी अजय टाइम थिया साढ़े अच्छी सकनी हो बेच सकनी हो असां गलबात चाह विशा भी है चाह प्लासा गलबात हो सी इंशाल्लाह अफल गलबात थैंक यू
As you can see, the private hire industry, even the black and white drivers, all are trying to come in there and they're doing obviously their demonstrations and things like that. Suitability policy is really damaging. Mr. Zaid, what do you say about?
This policy is not just damaging, it is worse than damaging. The full impact of this policy will only be able to tell when it becomes implemented. Like at the moment, Leeds they've adopted it, but they haven't implemented it yet. Now, what we're learning from the Wakefield Council, where it has been implemented, it is a draconian policy, and it is very dangerous, where they hold you to account for any minor issue. So basically, you could have an argument with a customer, you get held to account, which we already get held to account for anyway. But the way things that Leeds City Council do their investigations, it can take up to a year for them to investigate the matter, and in that time, the driver who's been caught up in this suitability policy will be sitting at home and he loses out.
Right. Okay, Zaid,
This policy that they've been introducing now is totally racist. Why is it based on just taxi drivers? If this was for public safety, why isn't it for the other sectors? Surely taxi drivers are not the only ones who deal with public safety. Look at that police officer in the Sarah Everett's case. He had 313 complaints against him. What did the IPCC do? That is public safety. Not when we are hard-working people are getting labelled being so-called this racist policy implemented by us, onto us. From IOL, who are IOL? The DFT, fair enough, TFT could have done more. This policy should not be in place, and this is how I say it's so damaging. And all you've got to do is just look at Wakefield Council. Wakefield Council is a prime example. It's implemented there. The drivers are going through the hardship, going through the magistrates, only for their license to be reinstated. So what is good in this policy?
Protest about the suitability policy, which personally I'm, as a taxi driver, been in the trade for 30 years. Personally speaking, I think it's very damaging to our community when they're coming out lobbies like suggestions like this with the suitability policy, which we as drivers are not accepting. Because 7 points, you can get that within a year. You know, being a cab driver on the road, 24/7, 24 hours a day we're on the road, 8 hours shifts a day. So basically, we think the councils have been very unfair with us on this policy, which I personally, as a cab driver, think that this should be, resolved or done in a better way. Because it's not helping our drivers. You know yourself, the economy is down. So basically, we want the council to re-look at this policy and put us on the table. Let's do some dialogue. Let's have a proper talk. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I've come from Wakefield. This policy has already been implemented in Wakefield. And we've got loads of drivers banned on minor offences. We've got most of these are back on the road now when they went to magistrates and the magistrates ruled against the council. But these drivers are sat at home for 6 months waiting for a court date and they have to pay £1,500 for the legal fees. So if this policy gets implemented here in Leeds, most of these drivers won't be here. They'll be sat in magistrates. So far, we've had a drivers banned for careless driving in 2014. So they've been giving him a license since 2014, but now they refuse to give him a license. He went to court and he won. He only got 3 points for careless driving in 2014. Although them points were off, he was ruled no longer fit and proper. Same as dishonesty. I mean, a driver forgot to tell the council 18 years ago about 3 points. So they said, you're dishonest, we're not going to give you a badge. Although there's been no complaints against him. So that also went to magistrates and the driver got his badge. But that's not the point. We pay taxes. So the council should listen to us rather than us going to court. The third thing is, before this policy was implemented, minor offences went to licensing committee. So 4 councillors on the licensing committee, Labour and Conservative, would make that decision. Now, under this new policy, it's the licensing manager that makes that decision on his own, one person, unelected. He's not elected. So normally, he would go to licensing committee where we get a chance to put our case forward, the managers get a chance to put their case forward. Now, one person makes that decision, we then go to court, it costs us so much money and the drivers sat at home. So all I'm saying is that democratic process has finished. This is a coup against elected members by the officers. And why doesn't this policy apply to bus drivers, police officers? They also deal with the public. So why would you only target taxi drivers? Recently, a police officer, when he murdered Sarah Everard, that officer had 313 complaints, but he never lost his license badge. But if there's a fake complaint against taxi driver, he would lose his license straight away. So why is there double standards? All we're saying is there's got to be level playing field. I've got a clean license. I've submitted my badge last week. I've got a clean license, clean DBS. But they're saying to me now, you went to Spain for a holiday, you went to Turkey, go get a certificate from there to say you were good, you haven't committed no crimes there. Why should I have to go get a certificate from Turkey? You know what I mean? It doesn't make no sense. So this policy was passed on the advice of IOL and the licensing managers. The councillors are saying now that yeah, it is racist, we shouldn't have passed it. But the thing is, it's too late now, it's already been implemented. The second thing is the biggest trade union in the country, GMB union, has said this policy is racist. So if it looks racist, it sounds racist, it must be racist. Thank you.
Now or never.
Why?
Too late.
Too late. Before it's too late.
Yeah, before it's too late.
Change the policy.
Now or never.
Change the policy.
Now or never.
Change the policy.
Now or never.
Why?
Because it's too late.
Because before it's too late.
Yeah, because it's too late.
Because it's before too late. Is that drivers here, John, they have their point of view regarding this suitability policy, which is quite dangerous. So, John, please.
Yeah, my biggest problem is with the harmonisation of the West Yorkshire law that I've spoken to Zaid many times about. I'm a Leeds driver. I've been driving for on and off 28 years in Leeds. I've got a 64 plate car. Now, Leeds City Council are going to say to me it's got 1 year left, am I correct, Zaid?
Yeah.
Right, now, if I go to Bradford now for a badge, how long extra can I have that car on road?
You can have that car on for 15 years.
15 years.
Yep.
So, Leeds City Council, I'm asking you why I am not allowed, after another year, to have my car on road. Yet again, a car from Bradford is allowed to come into Leeds and work.
For that extra 3 years.
For extra 3 years. Where's the public safety there? There's many issues. This is the tip of the iceberg. And I believe, my belief is, it's not fit and proper. Too many different regulations for different councils. Enough's enough now. It's not right.
We're on boiling point. Policy, because when we get into other avenues, it just messes the cause up. Stick with the suitability and convictions. Once we can get this squashed, then we'll tackle others. If we can tackle this suitability policy, other policies will be easier to tackle.
With a big impact, with a conviction one, if the drivers get 3 points, he won't be able to work properly because psychologically, if you get another 3, He'll be leaving his license, losing his license.
Now, I agree with what you're saying. It's on your mind all the time. So if you get done for going over 30 mile an hour, it's easy. It can easily happen. Right? So I'm driving 40, 50 hours a week. So if an average councillor may get a speeding, they get 3 points. I'm 10 times more likely to get the points up.
They expect us to drop the customer in a good way eventually. But if the driver's got 3 points, how he's going to be doing a proper and fit job? Psychologically, he won't be able to do it. So basically, they are mentally torturing us that we will not be able to do a job properly because the drivers will not perform.
Thank you. ਭਾਜੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸੂਟੇਬਿਲਿਟੀ ਪਾਲਿਸੀ
ਪੈਣਾ ਵੇਖੋ ਜੀ ਜੇ 6 ਪੈਂਟ ਆ ਗਏ ਤਾਂ ਹੁਣ ਮੇਰਾ ਖਿਆਲ ਜਿੰਨੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਡਰਾਈਵਰ ਆਪਣੇ ਕੋਲ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਨਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਕੋਲ 3-6 ਪੈਂਟ ਲੱਗੇ ਹੋਏ ਆ ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਨਾ ਜੀ ਤੇ ਜੇ ਕੱਲ ਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਲਾਗੂ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਤੇ ਘਰਾਂ 'ਚ ਬਹਿ ਜਾਓਗੇ ਤੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਫਿਰ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਰੋਟੀ ਦਾ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਮਸਲਾ ਉਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੱਲ ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ ਤੇ ਮੇਨ ਗੱਲ ਇਹ ਆ ਵੀ ਜਿੰਨੇ ਅੱਜ ਡਰਾਈਵਰ ਆਏ ਨਾ ਤੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਅੱਜ ਆਏ ਆ ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਏ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਸੁਨੇਹਾ ਭਾਈ ਜਾਨ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਲੀਡਸ ਟੈਕਸੀ ਕਰਨੀ ਆ ਜਾਣ ਕੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪਾਕਿਸਤਾਨ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਟੈਕਸੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਨੀ ਜੇ ਅੱਜ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਪੈਂਟ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਅੱਜ ਕੰਮਾਂ ਤੇ ਬੈਠੇ ਨਾ 100-200 ਪਾਉਣ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਕੁਝ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਣਨਾ ਸਿੱਧੀ ਗੱਲ ਆ 3-4 ਮਹੀਨੇ ਕੋਰੋਨਾ ਰਹੀ ਆ ਉਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਘਰਾਂ 'ਚ ਬੈਠੇ ਰਹੇ ਆ ਉਦੋਂ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਗੁਜ਼ਾਰਾ ਚੱਲਿਆ ਹੀ ਆ ਜੇ ਅੱਜ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇੱਕ ਦਿਨ ਦਾ ਸਟ੍ਰਾਈਕ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੰਮਾਂ ਤੇ ਲੱਗੇ ਹੋਏ ਆ ਤੇ ਆਉਣ ਵਾਲਾ ਸਮਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਖਤਰਨਾਕ ਹੋਣਾ ਵਾ ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਓ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਹੋਈਏ ਜੋ ਵੀ ਲੋ ਬਣ ਰਿਹਾ ਵਾ 6 ਪੁਆਇੰਟਾਂ ਦਾ ਤੇ ਇਹਦਾ ਆਪਾਂ ਜਿੰਨੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਟੈਕਸੀ ਡਰਾਈਵਰ ਰਲ ਕੇ ਸਾਥ ਦਈਏ ਤੇ ਜਿੰਨਾ ਸਾਥ ਦਊਂਗੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਟੈਕਸੀ ਭਰਾਵਾਂ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਸਹੀ ਰਹੂਗਾ ਤੇ ਮੇਰੀ ਬਸ ਇਹੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੈ ਜੀ ਆਓ ਤੇ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਹੋਈਏ ਬਸ
ਇਹ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਭਾਈਰਾਂ ਨੇ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਸਹੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਹੀ ਹੈ ਰਿਕਾਰਡਿੰਗ ਕਰ ਜਿਸ ਤੱਕ ਇੱਥੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਦੋਸਤ ਹਨ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ 200% ਐਗਰੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਨ ਇਹ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੋਸਤਾਂ ਦੀ ਡਿਊਟੀ ਬਣ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਹਾਲੇ ਵੀ ਮੇਰੇ ਹਿਸਾਬ ਨਾਲ 20% ਟ੍ਰੇਡ ਕੰਮ ਕਰ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਮੈਸੇਜ ਦਿਓ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਿਹੜੇ 20% ਟ੍ਰੇਡ ਹੋ ਇਹਦਾ ਹਿੱਸਾ ਬਣੋ ਅਗਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਹਦਾ ਹਿੱਸਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਣੋਗੇ ਜਿਸ ਲਈ ਇਹ ਪਾਲਿਸੀ ਬਣ ਗਈ ਤੇ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਨੁਕਸਾਨ ਹੋ ਜਾਏਗਾ ਤੇ ਉਸ ਲਈ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਚੀਖਾਂ ਮਾਰੋਗੇ ਬਲਕਿ ਇਸ ਟ੍ਰੇਡ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੋ ਜੀ ਪਾਲਿਸੀ ਆ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਚੇਂਜ ਹੋ ਗਈ ਤੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਨੁਕਸਾਨ ਹੋ ਜਾਏਗਾ ਸੁੱਤੇ ਨਾ ਰਹੋ ਜਾਗ ਜਾਓ ਸੁੱਤੇ ਰਹੋਗੇ ਤੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਤੀ ਹੋ ਜਾਏਗੀ